situation that you're here at the Bronx Zoo today protesting against?
There is a link between colonialism and conservation. Conservation exists because of colonialism. So if we look back in the history of how the national parks were created in Asia and Africa, what we realize is that, yes, the idea of national park was born in the US. But then, during the expansion of colonial empires, it's this model of protected area where humans are evicted from their land that applies in Africa. So we are at the end of the 19th century. The colonizers arrived based on the idea that nature will disappear if they don't do something about it, because local communities and indigenous people are destroying nature. Ota Benga was an Mbuti man. The Mbuti are part of the hunter-gatherers that live in the rainforest of Congo and was exposed in different places until it arrived to the Bronx Zoo. So the Bronx Zoo was an idea of Roosevelt together with Madison Grant. They got the idea to create this zoo because they loved animals, they loved to hunt them, but they also loved to look at the animals. So they created this Bronx Zoo. We have to know that this story is very important because the first national park in Africa is actually in the rainforest of Congo. It's the Virunga National Park, at that time Albert Park. Albert created this park in the Congo after went to visit Yosemite, Yellowstone, the parks in the United States. And Ota Benga was sold in the slave market and in the United States, and he was treated as an animal. At one point, he was put around with all bones, so to get people the impression he was a cannibal. And there were thousands of people, New York people, that came to this place to see. It's a terrible story, and it's a good example of actually the treatment that indigenous peoples are getting for conservationists. We think about Ota Benga, we think, oh my God, I can't believe that there was someone exposed here in the zoo. But actually what is going on today with conservation is still shocking, and a lot of people would be shocked to know about it. As they probably are shocked learning that in the Bronx Zoo, where people come to see nice animals, there was a human being exposed that at the end of his life commit suicide because he couldn't continue living in that way, completely isolated from everything that he knew and that gives meaning to his life. But this is what's happening today in the name of conservation. Entire people are being evicted from their homeland, where they have everything that makes meaning for them. It's not just a place where they get food. It's a place where they bury their ancestors. It's a place where they teach their kids to be who they are. And they are completely separate and eradicated from what it gives meaning to their life. And I think their story is exactly like the one of Ota Benga. You can't see what we see in Survival International as researchers, sit down with people that are the least responsible for environmental destruction, that they don't contribute at all to climate change, and see their way of life completely weed out by people sit down in Washington or Europe pretending they are saving the planet. If we want a planet where actually we have a healthy environment, where there is no climate change, we can't be targeting the least responsible. There is a question of justice. It's who we are looking at. So I think the entire system of conservation is completely entangled with capitalism. The idea is that we don't look to the real perpetrators of environmental destruction. So we pretend we are going to save the rainforest by creating this park, while allowing our companies to keep destroying the planet and exploiting the resources of the same countries where the national parks are, without saying anything. So I come here not only as a human, but also as an activist searching for climate justice, for environmental justice, for social justice. Because indigenous peoples are the best guardians of the natural world. 80% of biodiversity is in their land. The solution is there. There are two things to do: protect indigenous rights and change our way of life, as we are the real drivers of environmental destruction.